Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today we're talking about, I don't know why I'm saying we, but hopefully you're contemplating it while I talk about it, about being yourself, because we're told to do that, aren't we? We're told all the time. Just be yourself. Have you ever contemplated that for a moment? Well, who the heck am I anyway? They're telling me to be myself, but I'm not sure who that actually is. And I think maybe it's a big missing piece in terms of how we feel about ourselves, is that what we think the self is. Be yourself. So I think there's a number of things that come to mind in terms of the self that we might think we are. So we might think, I'm a mother, I'm a fiance, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm also a business owner, I'm a coach. There's all those exterior labels that we maybe think that's who we are. But maybe we've started to see through that. Like maybe we can see that those are just the labels, and that those labels are transient, aren't they? Because, at some point I might not be, I'll still be a daughter, but at some point my mum won't be here, I won't be a daughter anymore. I won't be somebody's daughter anyway. So those labels have a transient feel to them, don't they? And they change in terms of that. If I think about my children as they grow up, being a mother, being their mother, being a mum has changed completely. Yesterday I just dropped my daughter back at university. My son lives completely independently. So my children aren't really, I'm in a very different relationship with them now. So there's all those kind of exterior labels, and you've probably got more if you've got a profession. I used to be a head teacher, a teacher before that, senior leader in school, a deputy. I was an assistant head teacher, I was never a deputy. There's all those different labels, and is that who we are? Is that the self? Is that being yourself? Being those roles in life? I don't think that's it, is it? So, and then there's some other things that seem a little bit more us, like, I hear a lot of people talk about my anxiety, or being an anxious person, or being anxious, as if that is like being yourself, being anxious, being a stress head, being an overthinker, being someone who's overwhelmed all the time. I heard a really funny story once from Steve Chandler in his book Right Now. I think it was in that book, about a lady who was a cake person. And the conversation he was having with this lady was about weight loss and health. And she was talking all about all the good things she did, like eating salad and stuff like that. And then she just said, yes, but my problem is I'm a cake person. And of course, if we see ourselves as a cake person, then every time we come across cake, we won't really be able to not eat it because we're a cake person. I would have said I was a chocolate person rather than a sweet person. I'm not really bothered for sweeties. I prefer chocolate. Or maybe you're a wine person rather than a lager person, or whatever, But all of these things, some of those things probably seem a little bit more real, because as we see ourselves in the world, we see those things happening all the time. So if we're struggling with anxiety or we're very stressed, then because of how we react to the world around us in terms of how we think about it, we will see that become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And whereas, so for example, if you tend to have a tendency towards anxious thinking, then you will be more alerted to an anxious feeling than maybe I would, because I don't anymore have a tendency towards anxious thinking and anxious feelings. If I feel anxious, I know now that it's because my state of mind and my mood are not in a good place, and it's okay because it'll pass. So those things that we think we are, so being yourself, is it being all those things? Is it being those labels that we've been given that are made up, by the way? That's quite helpful to know. I find that the idea of anxiety didn't even exist about 70 years ago. So maybe a bit longer, but not much longer. And all those other mental illness labels, many of them have just recently been invented. It's all thinking. It's helpful to know. So the thing to know about all that stuff, whether it's the labels that we're given by the outside world and by society, or whether it's the labels that we've ended up carrying that seem to be kind of with us all the time, like an old coat we can't really take off, or maybe a rucksack of old rubbish that we can't put down. The thing to know about all of that is all of it is created via our thinking. Like I said, if you think you're stressed, if you think stressful thoughts, if you perceive the world through the lens of stress, then you will experience stress. And that's why, people could be in exactly the same situation but experience it differently. And I know people who worked with people who'd been in the Twin Towers, which, goodness gracious, is 21 years ago, just over, and they all experienced it differently. People who survived, people who were actually in there as the buildings began to fall, and survived, they all experienced it differently, and they noticed other people experiencing it differently too, which is amazing. Because you'd think that was a very stressful situation, wouldn't you? But not everybody experienced it in a stressful way. So all of it, all of those labels, all of those things are made up concepts. They've been created by human beings thinking. That's human beings, plural, thinking. All of it, all the rules, all the labels, all the this. They're just made. Even the word mother is a made-up word. It could be, an Ujima flip. We could have been called that, all those mothers. Because, and then, that would have been the word. When your children called you, they'd called you Ujima flip. So it's all made up. And so this idea of being yourself then becomes a little bit like, oh, well, what's that all about? How do I be myself then? And I think it's by seeing that you're not your thinking, and that there's something amazing in you that you're part of, but you are it too. That is so much more than that. And I know you've experienced it sometimes. Those moments when you have complete calm and complete clarity. Those moments when you get an inspired idea and follow it. Those moments when you're connected to the people around you and you're totally present. There's nothing else on your mind. It's seeing that capacity is in you all the time. It never, ever, ever gets taken away. It cannot be stolen away. It's absolutely always there, all day, every day. That's being yourself. And the wonderful thing is that your system is built to let you know when you are not connected to that, because you feel rubbish. And that's not not to let you know that you've done anything wrong. It's just when you know, oh, in this moment I've got a lot of anxious thinking. That's not who I really am. I'm just in this moment caught up in anxious thinking, or in this moment I'm feeling very stressed in my body. I can feel that. Oh, that's because I've got stressful thinking. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means in that moment you're caught up and you're disconnected from your well-being, which is always there. And that's who you really are. You know, I don't use this word often, but it's knowing that you are God, the universe, and everything. The energy of life runs through you and powers you. It's just that you're distracted from seeing it because your head is busy. As many of our heads are. Mine too. So that's just something to explore, something to get curious about, something to see that is true for all of us. Like, this is not just about you. This is every human being has this capacity inside them. Anything is possible. And you are utterly possible. And everything is available to you when you're not so caught up in your thinking. So that's a little exploration on being yourself. I hope you found that helpful. Lots of love. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.